Chapter 23, Section 2, continued. In the 1920s, you're going to have a new breed of celebrities and heroes. And audiences are going to share in the accomplishments of these celebrities. Actors and actresses became instantly famous. The styles that they wore became the latest fashion. One of the sports favorites is going to be Babe Ruth, the Sultan of Swat, along with many other nicknames, especially if you've watched The Sandlot. He's going to dominate baseball between 1920 and 1934, leading the Yankees to 4 World Series championships. Jim Thorpe was a multi-talented athlete of the 20s. Jim Thorpe in college played every intercollegiate sport offered in college. After leaving school, he's going to train for the Olympics, where he becomes the first competitor to win both the pentathlon and the decathlon, very tough, multi-talented events. He's going to go on to a career in Major League Baseball, and he also plays professional football. Another huge celebrity of the 20s, probably the biggest celebrity of the 20s, is going to be a pilot named Charles Lindbergh. In May of 1927, Charles Lindbergh is going to compete in a contest. There was a contest to see who would be the first person to fly nonstop from New York to Paris. They would win a $25,000 prize. Charles Lindbergh, in his plane, the Spirit of St. Louis, is going to battle hunger and fatigue and bad weather. But he completes the 33.5-hour flight, becoming the first person to fly solo nonstop across the Atlantic. The first female to fly across the Atlantic was Amelia Earhart, who would later disappear over the Pacific Ocean. And a lot of controversy surrounding that, on whether she was escaping the limelight, whether she crashed and survived, whether she crashed and didn't survive. A lot of different evidence around that. Social changes in the 1920s is going to trouble some Americans. Many were worrying about the decline in moral standards in our country, and religious leaders are going to preach about these new evils, sparking a new era of revivalism, trying to revive the old moral standards. Aimee Semple McPherson was one of the most popular revivalist preachers. And as you could tell by some of the pictures here, she had a strong Christian message, but she mixed it with the glamour of Hollywood from the 20s. Her church services would be these very lively, emotional services. Many Americans, though, turned to a more conservative movement like fundamentalism, which taught traditional Christian doctrine without question. It taught that the Bible is literally true. What it says is what it means. They claimed that modernism was weakening Christianity, and preachers like Billy Sunday would captivate huge audiences. In 1925, you're going to have the Scopes trial. The Tennessee legislature had outlawed teaching evolution in public schools. The ACLU offered to defend any teacher that wanted to challenge this. If you were a teacher and you wanted to teach evolution, which was outlawed in Tennessee, the ACLU said they would defend you. John Scopes accepts the offer. He was a science teacher from Dayton, Tennessee. He teaches evolution in his classroom, is in trouble. The chief defense attorney is going to be Clarence Darrow, this famous criminal lawyer from Chicago. was defending Scopes. William Jennings Bryan was the prosecution's star attorney, prosecuting Scopes. This trial is really going to show the division of America. On one hand, you had this traditional religious value, but on the other hand, you had this new scientific way of thinking. Darrow was unable to convince the jury. Scopes is found guilty, and he's fined $100, which for a teacher in the 20s was quite the sum. Although this seems like a huge victory for fundamentalism, some lowered their opinion of fundamentalism because of William Jennings Bryan's narrow-mindedness during the trial. He wouldn't even listen to the other side. He just focused just on what he had to say, and this is the only way. But the 1920s are coming to an end. The United States is on top of the world. And we will soon see that change when we talk again.